Okay, welcome people. Welcome guys. Welcome. I'm going to start in a moment. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Let's crack on and see what's going on here. Okay. Welcome everyone. All right, I'll hit record and then we can start. Okay, guys. So welcome to Wednesday's live analysis session. For those of you live with us, it's been an interesting week so far. Now, I gave out a trade on Monday for something I could see that was going to happen most likely. And we have had that price action here. The price has returned right back to this area here. Now it's taking a very strongly long. Now I was in this trade and I closed it, but I think there will be there are very good reasons to continue pushing for another long again. I'm just going to try to go for re-entry. Now I'm going to look for an entry between now and 3 o'clock, somewhere between there. And as I said, the projection for the first target is from the hourly time frame right here. Second target is above this high. Now, we do have news coming out for the Canadian dollar today, and that news will be coming out at, we have quite a few pieces of news actually today. If I switch over to the news for a moment, let's have a look here. So switching over to the news right here, we've had some news come out, medium impact news for the CPI. Right now, the CPI is 5.6%, okay, which is excluding, well, it's not a CPI, excuse me, it's the PPI, Producer Price Index, and it's at 5.6%. Okay, the previous was 4.8% last year, and the consensus was 5.1, but it's better than expected by a long margin. That's why we're seeing some of the price action we're seeing on the charts. Now we do have news. We have a speech from Schnabel, and this will be at 1:45. And then we have the Bank of Interest Rate. So Bank of Canada's interest rate, excuse me, at 3 o'clock. And I do expect to see a lot of price action here. And then we also have the press conference. I think we have quite a full on day definitely today. For Wednesday is always a full on day. And then into the night, we have even more news coming out from Australia and from China. Now, we have seen some spiking on New Zealand dollar pairs. And if you've been paying attention, if I put up this week here. So this week so far, we've had New Zealand dollar news. I believe we had two pieces of news. We had news showing up at, I believe, 11:45. And then we had some news at 3 o'clock. So I think those two pieces of news have put a bit of spring in the step of the New Zealand dollar. And I will show you that in a moment. But just here we go. If I scroll down here. Okay, so we had the news at 3 o'clock here. I expect the interest rates to stay the same for quite a while until the Federal Reserve is ready to hike any interest rate, which is the thing that they will be doing probably 2023, as they're predicting. For now, interest rates are still the same. We did have some news also that was supposed to be at 10:45. Okay, so it was here. But we had another piece of news that I'm not seeing unless that is on Thursday. Okay, here we go. So I believe on Thursday, here we are. We have high impact news. So we have the CPI for the second quarter of the year coming out coming out from New Zealand. Okay, and is expected to be higher. Now, if most likely the CPI for every country will be higher because of COVID. So I expect this number to be better than expected. So we may see some stronger push on the long side for the New Zealand dollar. We'll see though. Okay. We also have Federal Powell. This wasn't here yesterday, but he's also testifying on Thursday. Now, usually the testifying of Federal Powell, Jerome Powell, was over 2 days. So there was always a first and a second day. So when I saw this first day, I knew there would be a second. It wasn't just confirmed what time it is. So first one today is at 5, and second is at 2:30 GMT. All of these times are GMT because I'm from the UK. And then, and then we end the week with a bit of higher impact news at 1:30. So we do have a full-on week here. So let's have a look at the charts and see again where we are. So AUD USD has gone strongly long. It did return back again, should have took an entry here again and gone for it. It's done 50 pips so far. It is a really nice trade. The price even returned for us. So I'm watching to see how the price is going to behave moving forward. I'm going to look for an entry, a re-entry to get back in here to this trade again so that we can take advantage of the movement. Now, the major direction for me, not major, I'm still very heavily bullish on the Australian dollar. I just believe that the price is giving us a healthy pullback, which was supposed to happen last week, but the price is performing it this week. So I'm watching carefully to see how the price behaves. And again, because we have Canadian dollar news, I expect the market to be quite strange. Now, I do have a pending order on this account for the low right here. My only concern is how the highs over here were left, but the Canadian dollar, I do believe, is showing very strong signs of bearish pressure, as it should. Now, yesterday was an annoying day. Price went long, then short, then long, then short. And sometimes the USD dollar can get like that. So I do expect the price to be moving short. I just want to see how the price is going to behave and what's going to happen. All right. On pound USD, we can see that the price has gone strongly long. Okay, again, and is returning right back up to some highs that are left behind. Now I'm interested. For me, watching the price action here, pushing long like this, I'm just watching across this area right here to see what we could possibly get. So let me do something here. I want to see how the price behaves when it gets round about here. You know, and just watch it carefully to see what we get in this hourly. This hourly supply zone is of my interest at the moment. I want to see what happens if the price gets back in here. Okay, if the price will continue long or go for a short. So if we get a continuation long from here, then I expect pound USD to get back to the 1.40. If not, then I do expect to see rather a very strong short happening, and this strong short should take the price back down to the lows of 1.36. So this is the crux of everything. I think for now, what I may do is delete my pending order. I rather not use the pending order to get into this market as a sell stop. If USD CAD is going to do something on this account, I'm going to switch back to my challenge account now. But I just want to delete this pending order. So delete that. Okay. It's not giving me the option to delete for some reason. I don't know why. But I want to get rid of this. Okay, it's not showing up. I don't know why. I can delete it from my other chart. Let me just do it from here instead. Okay. All right, gone. All right, so I'm going to watch out to see what happens here with the price action. Australian dollar, US dollar is clearly very strongly bullish. Now, the US dollar should be bearish, but the price went very strongly long from the announcement of the CPI, which I believe was just the price re-entering. But I'm still, until it hits 3 o'clock or past 3 o'clock, I'm never going to say definitely yes. You know, the price is what the US dollar is going to do. Really and truly, the US dollar should be very strongly, well, should get weak based on CPI. But again, at the same time, it depends on what side of the river you're on. If you have US dollar denominated assets, so stocks, you know, bonds, different things of that nature, then the US dollar, in fact, with inflation, you should normally have more value within your asset that you're holding. But then in terms of the real buying power in the market, the US dollar will gain strength for the short term. Okay, so nominally the US dollar will gain that strength, but it should weaken after that. So I'm really intrigued right now to see what the price wants to do. I'm going to switch over to the challenge account and start trading on there again. Okay. All right. So switch over. I think it's a bit too late for that USD CAD. I'm already there. All right, switched over now. So I'm watching how the price is going to behave here, and I'm interested to know, you know, what the price wants to do. There's a lot of price action going on right now. The market is very volatile. I mean, where gold is right now, I think probably now is time to look for the long. But I'm going to switch over to the charts in a moment. But it seems as though the USD CAD has frozen on my screen. But we can sort that out here. Let's see. Now, I'm not too sure what's going on. I think maybe I have to switch and come back. So let me switch back to the news for a moment. And then I have to deal with this right here. Okay. Not too sure what's happened to the charts, but the charts are frozen on me. So apologies, guys. 1 second. Let me fix this. All right. So in the meantime, anyway, with the expectations I have on the news, I really do want to see what the federal power is going to say. This is at 5 o'clock GMT. I do expect the price to move quite strongly. Okay. I'm focusing primarily on Canadian dollar pairs and US dollar pairs because that's where most of the money is going to be driven to this week. So I guess even then, with New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar, there are news pieces coming out on them too, which could also help to really bring some price action that we want to see. And even into Thursday, if you're plotting, and this is important if you're taking notes, if you did take the Australian dollar trade that I've given out and you're in it and you're in profit, then you of course you want to make sure that you're at break even already. And also just be wary because this news uh, at the moment we have an employment change of less than expected by 75,000 people or 75K. But we have a unemployment rate being expected to be increased by 0.4%. Now, if these figures are true, okay, and the price comes out to be so, then the Australian dollar will be bearish, which means AUD USD will be going short instead of long. Now, it depends on when it's going short. If it hits the target first before this news comes out, then that means we have an entry to go short. If the news comes out to be better than expected and is more positive than we thought, then the Australian dollar, this movement would help the Australian dollar. But we'll be able to tell this. Now, usually, as I told you, fundamentals is just the timing of when they put certain amounts of liquidity into the market. So if the price has already hit our price target before the news, then it'll be wise to get out and look for probably the opposite trade, because the exit for the long would be the entry for the short most likely, and vice versa. So I'm not saying for you to stay up at till 2:30, and maybe in the country you're watching at, it's not 2:30 in the morning. It's probably maybe 9 in the morning. Who knows? Okay, but I'm just keeping my wits about me to be clear as to what the price is going to do. This is why I'm watching the Australian dollar versus the US dollar so much. So I'm mapping this out. I'm watching what the price does, especially from 2 o'clock. I believe that there is great opportunity in the market to get some money from the market this week. Okay, today and tomorrow. I'm just being wary of the price action that is following along and making sure that we get ourselves the correct entry. So I'm watching very carefully as to what the price is going to do. And then from there, we can make our decisions on how to move forward. So this Australian dollar news, all three are high impact. And then we do have China's news. Now, with China's news, uh, as I said, I don't really pay attention to it because uh, I don't really trade any Chinese pair. The only thing that might have a spike on it is gold to a small degree, just like a, rub off effect. That's the only thing that could possibly happen here. And then at 7 here, we do have the unemployment rate. So the UK also unemployment rate at the moment is the same. Okay, projected to be the same. And then the claimant count. Now, claimant count is going to be the claiming of any benefits from the government, any help or support from the government. Okay, if these numbers go down, then that means that the economy has more labor, more people are in work, and etc. So these numbers do work together to provide a picture of the economy. So if you're watching this and you're not from the UK and you want to kind of figure out what's going on here, this is the picture of what the price really means. So at 7 o'clock, which is basically at the London Open, we're going to see the price action of this movement here. Now, 7 is a good time to be up GMT because, I mean, I would say 6:55 or 6:45, just having some water here. I'm watching carefully, but I guess if we get a very good entry today, this is why I like Wednesday, because Wednesday is kind of like my deciding line of what I'm going to trade. So if I come back to the charts here, for example, and let's switch back. So if I come back to the charts here and I look at pound USD, with pound USD, as I had the markings out here. Now I'll probably use the other pound USD I had, but can't seem to see it. But with the pound USD that I do have anyway, however, if I put my supply zone right here, okay, if the price was to return here again and this was an entry to go for a short, then I'll be more than happy to take this short all the way back down to the main target. Now I told you guys, excuse me, that I do have a target, and my target is 136, 1.36. Now the reason for 1.36 is very simple. We haven't had the return back into this demand zone for this long. Therefore, the weeks after, we can see a really strong and clear decrease in the supply or in the demand side of the market before the supply moves in and pulls the price back. Now the price has really struggled to close at least 50% of the body of this candle on the upside. So for me, I'm seeing this as we do have a potential short on our hands. Now, how this short is going to play out, it depends. We've had some interesting price action above the weekly high, so I do believe that from here the price should be making its way on the downside. This is what I do believe is going to happen, and this is what I'm aiming for in terms of a trade. So I'm watching pound USD carefully. Take this off. Well, we have these three lows here. I'll just take this off for a moment. The lowest being this one that have not returned to demand. This is why the price wasn't able to rocket off and take off for the long, which is this is purposeful. This isn't by accident. Okay, the pound was not ready to go to the long that we expect it to do so, even though it has very good fundamentals going for it because of COVID vaccination. I think right now about 63 to 65, up to 68% of the country is vaccinated. Okay, which is probably the highest in compared to many other countries, if not probably the highest itself. So for me, watching the price action from this angle, I'm expecting to see um, the price pull short just back to this area here. And then from 1.36, about 300, then we should start to see the very strong long. This is why I'm not changing my mind, and I'm still keeping my wits about me that I do expect the price to actually give us an entry back here. So really, I am actually looking for a short here. Stop loss will go above this area, and I'm looking to ride the wave down. This is what my expectations are, if I be really honest. But I'm not going to take the entry yet. I just want to give the chance the price to get back into the area where I believe it would go to. I think it has a little bit more to go from the hourly perspective. Now, I'm using the hourly a lot these days because I find it a very solid uh, place of price action that we can use. Now, if you see me looking to the right or to your left, it means I'm looking at my second chart. All right. So I'm watching to see what the price is doing here. Most likely, if we're going to get an entry, all right, pound USD's entry is going to be here. So I would suggest for an entry roughly around about this region here, and our stop loss should go above. Okay, this is about to happen anyway right now. It could happen whilst we're on live. As you know, AUD USD went to happen whilst we're on the live again. Now it's taking off and it's pushing long. All right, so I'm watching this carefully to see how the price is going to behave here too. So keep your eyes on it. Now, because of the pair correlation, remember we want USD CAD to go short. I gave you guys USD CAD signal already. All right. If you guys are in USD CAD, I closed it down here for some profit. The price pulled back up again and now it's going short again. Pulling back short from this H4 area here. This is where the price used the H4 supply here. So I'm watching USD CAD carefully because I don't trust the Canadian dollar news. I am going to do a live trade with me for the news as well. All right, so I'll be doing that at 12:50 to 12:50 until 15 past 3. All right, so we're going to watch out and see what happens here. All right, with USD CAD. Nobody moved just yet. If you're in USD CAD, you might as well hold on to it because the entry I gave you guys was right back up at the validation point right here. So for those of you, you know that we had the entry here. Now I'm watching out for this area. Let me put the zone correctly. I need to use the 30 minutes to get it. Here we go. So on the 30 minute here, this is the crux of the of the shift from long to short. As soon as the price breaks beneath here, guys, the price has come close to it, but it hasn't. So if you want to grab a entry and you missed one, then you would have to wait for the price to break beneath here. But we need a body close. Just because there's Canadian dollar news doesn't mean that you react frantically at all. That's what they want you to do, and you will lose money. But we want a simple close beneath this area right here. Now, if you get one before the news, then it might be worth taking a very small entry. Now, remember, guys, when the liquidity gets low, when there is news, the liquidity becomes low, but the volume is high. Okay, and this is because everybody's trying to enter or close or do different crazy things at the news, and a lot of it is retail trading. So my suggestion to you guys is, if you're going to take, you know, let me put this here. If you're going to take any trade whatsoever, all right, and there's news nearby, just give yourself 15 minutes past the news before you get in. Okay, there'll be plenty of re-entries and things like that going forward, but don't go and knock yourself out of the market and get stopped out massively, because even if you put a stop loss on some brokers, on a lot of brokers, if there's not enough liquidity to hit your stop loss will stay up where it is, but the price will go past it and you still won't be closed out of the trade. All right. And you don't want that to happen, because now you're trapped. Now, it's not often that happens because the Forex market is very liquid, but it can still happen. All right. This is why you never rush. If you want to make money, you don't need to rush. Never rush, guys. Never, ever rush, no matter what. All right, pound USD is returning, guys, into this zone. So we might have to take this trade live as it is. I'm going to use my other account for a moment to take the first trade, and I'm going to observe what the price does here. So entry, this is the challenge account. Remember, we're still trying to grow this account again to do our challenge. So if I was to take a trade from here, according to this 0.02 would be the lot size to use. Now, what I'm going to do here, let me see how far it is. All right, the price is still pulling up. Again, I said be careful, guys, because I'm watching the price action with a pinch of salt. I just want to check something on the D1 here, just to make sure. All right, cool. So I'm going to put the D1 validation point, what I need here. So leave that there. And all right, cool. So the price is pulling back, guys. If you want to take this live, you can. I'm watching across here to make sure that all the toes are crossed. All the dots, all the lines are crossed on the T. All right, and you know what I mean to say. All right, we haven't had an entry yet. It's very close inside. We just made this marked off properly. All right, we're just about, the price is wick right near it, but it's not inside of it, so we're not entering. But in a moment, we're going to enter. So this one we're going to sell live, because I don't think there's a chance to put a pending order for this. All right. Now, those of you who are more advanced with trading and leaders, if you see a trade, guys, that is popping off, all right, do post that you're in it, because it will trigger the other students, because not every student comes to the live and they missed at least 60% of the trades, which there's nothing we can do about, because it just happens at the time. But if you can, try to like post your entries that you're in, because it'll trigger someone to want to look and make sure. Because I think Salman, he got stopped out of USD CAD, but we all made profit from it. And same thing with GJ as well. Quite a few people missed pound Japanese yen, but those that were on the live, you guys caught that. So try to think here. Let me put an alarm here, and let's look for what's going on now. Those of you in the live, I hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll be looking through more pairs. So what I will do, let me finish off. Let's look at Euro USD and see where it is. So Euro USD has dipped deeper into the area of demand now, into this demand liquidity here. But I'm having the sense that the price might actually want to break past and do more of a short. Looking at this again, the first re-entry we had into this area was quite strong, but we've had a second pullback down. The bearish side of the market really pushed the price down even further. So I'm very, very weary as to if this is the area of demand. Now, this is one area of demand potentially, as I said, that the price could use to go long, all right, to fill the liquidity gap, because we do have a gap around about here, 1.2134. 134. Every US pair still has the liquidity gap from the FOMC. However, we still have this area that's holding the price, with the price action giving us the short. So we have hit the 190 pip quota. So if you took this short, I didn't even catch this short myself, because I was away working on stuff. But if I gave you guys this short on the live, so if you got this, This is 190 pips right here. Your target would have been last week though, not this week really. So about 180, 190. Now, if the price breaks beneath here, then we have lower areas of demand that uh, Euro USD would have to get to. For now, the price is seemingly calm, but when the news comes out for the Canadian dollar, I do expect it to have an effect on the price. But to me, watching the price action from here, I'm not convinced that this price wants to continue going long for that much longer. No pun intended. I think the price is going to really push short, especially when I see what we have going on right here. I don't trust the price to completely go for a long right now. I think this is just the push that the price is doing, but sooner or later the price is going to reverse. Now we're getting to 2 o'clock, which is a good time, and I'm going to watch this very carefully. But I've still got an alarm here. As soon as I hear the alarm, then I'm going to go in for a small entry on both accounts. Let me just get this one up here too. Let's see what happens with it. I don't even have time to post this one out. So you guys, if you're in, just post that you're in this trade. Here we go. So 2 o'clock liquidity is pouring in now. All right, Chicago's full-fledged now. So we're going to see in a moment what the price is going to do. We want to see that price action here now. The highest point of the last 4 hours is here. So I would like to see how what the price achieves above the next 4 hours here. So from the H4 perspective. All right. We should be prepared in a moment. Let me put my alarm here. Let's see what happens. Now I'm going to put my Fibonacci on. All right. Grab it here. Where are we? Let's pull this back. Yeah, 86 is roughly about here. So I'm looking for 86, so about 1.38492. Put a 0.03 on here or something. All right. Now the strategy I'm going for, guys, as I said, whenever the market is in a very highly volatile place like this, but then the price provides a potential entry for your direction, and it lines up with your technical analysis. What I would say, guys, another thing that you can do is put a smaller entry, smallest is 0.01 at first, and allow the price to have a bit of movement. Now do need your technical skills to know what to do. So you put your first entry with a very small lot size. And I learned this from a multimillionaire trader who he was from the 50s and 60s when stock market stuff. He turned $500 into like 12 million or something. No, 60 million in 12 years. So the guy was saying how one of the things he does, he's a very well-known trader. I think his name he's good friends with people like Khan, the top investors of the world with, large billion-dollar hedge funds and stuff. But he said that he had a strategy where he has his first entry, which is a very small entry, and then as the price respects the direction that he's looking for, then he adds progressively heavier lot sizes until he gets his net size that he's going for, which I think is a wise thing to do, especially in a volatile market like this. Okay, where pound USD, if it does, you want to kind of put yourself in a position where you have enough in your account that, for example, if pound USD decided to get back to the 1.40s, all right now, and it decided to flip this zone, you should be prepared to be able to take an equal size or even a larger size with the right analysis and continue so that you can recoup your losses and also make some profit. Okay, so trading doesn't have to be hard at all, and you don't have to spend more than 30 minutes. You can actually do this in a lot shorter time. So I'm going to put an alarm here. The price hasn't reached there just yet, so I'm not making any moves. All right. Now, also, when I'm looking at USD CHF, guys, I wanted to say this, that when I watched the price action from the beginning of the week here, this price action here from the beginning of the week is giving me the sign that I do believe that USD CHF is going to give us a reversal. Similar to USD CAD, the price action here is giving me I don't want to call it the vibes because that's not the right term, but it's giving me the inkling that we possibly might have one more long before the short. Now, USD CHF has a short as well to do, a very strong one at that. Okay, but the price action here is not satisfactory enough for us to go for a short. So I'm in two minds about it, and I'm watching very carefully what the price is trying to do here. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on USD CHF. We might actually take this live right now. The live session will be done in about 2 minutes, but we'll be watching here. So let me do my analysis on gold whilst we're waiting, okay, for what the price wants to do. So what has gold done? So far, if I go on the H4, here we go, guys. So it's happened now. So from the H4 time frame, guys, The gap on gold is, let's see, is 271 pips away. All right. Now, gold has just done a very strong break after a long period of time of accumulating here, is broken past this last area, okay, with a very strong long. Now, I'm hoping that there will be some pullback because the return is what we would want to continue going long. Now, as I told you guys, even though we saw this short action happen, I said it to you. Now, we had the 5 minute entry here, which I showed you guys yesterday that I had marked out. I just wish that I took it and it was from this area, because this was the fulfillment of the liquidity right here. I wish that we had given this out, or I wish that I was watching carefully. I didn't expect the news to spike there straight away. I thought it would give me a bit more time, but I spiked here perfectly. Stop loss was only less than 10 pips. I mean, and you can see that from this point here, it's never come back. So that would have been a crazy trade, but we can't always catch them all. But I'm glad to know that my analysis was on point. You don't always catch every trade, but you should be happy to know that you understand the market liquidity. That's the most important thing. All right. So I'm watching for a H4 close. Right now it is now gold, remember guys, because of the time of gold, gold has the H4 session here is going to close at 3 o'clock instead of 2 o'clock GMT. So I'm hoping that there'll be some sort of pullback here for us to launch off for a long. And from this area here, now this one we could probably send out because there's still a bit of time. If the price does this, then I'm looking for a first target here. But now that gold has done this price action here, I don't think it's coming back for a while. So I'm looking for gold to go for some higher highs. I'm expecting it to get back to this area here, 1933. I think this is probably our ticket for a very strong long. But prerequisite, and those of you watching me live as well, think about this. If we don't get the body close above this H4 area, then nobody try to buy. If it's a wick close and the body stays in within this area, then we're not ready to go long just yet. Okay. So please be careful when you're trading gold.